Hi again, everyone. So this is episode 4, where we go through Vienna, and I apologize for the delay in preparing this video. Life comes at you fast, but we'll take you around to some of the sites we went to see, as well as just walking around in the city, because I feel like that's what I took footage of the most. Um, but it was an interesting day, even though it was only a day in Vienna. It was still cool to see, and we hope you think that also. Any thoughts, Lynn?
Agree.
Agree. You got to come up with a new word. Anyways, we hope you enjoy, and yeah. She over here doing Norwegian like she doesn't already know it. Wasting Duolingo's time outside the station. Praha Slavny Nadraji, the main station. We're going to Vienna in just under half an hour. Want to stop? We made it to Vienna. Yay. Once we arrived in Vienna and found our way through the central station, including remember to properly purchase and validate our ticket, we headed, of course, first for the hotel just to drop our stuff off and then, yeah, figure out where we are, how far we are from the city center, and so on and so forth. But overall, at least first impressions, it seemed like a pretty well connected city. They have the U-Bahn, the underground, the S-Bahn, the commuter trains, the regional trains, which is what we rode on over there. And yeah, even though it was a bit hot outside, we already were, I guess, getting kind of used to it because Prague was also pretty warm and not always the most pleasant when you were directly in the sun. But yeah, we figure after recharging at the hotel for a bit and just seeing what's around, we could go back into the city center for the rest of the day and just take it from there. So, what were your initial thoughts on Vienna then?
I liked it, and I liked the city center.
Yeah, we'll see more of that later. And you didn't mention it now, but you mentioned later. One thing about Vienna, it was really hard for me to remember that I was not in Germany. It was a different country because there was German everywhere, and obviously some words are different. But we didn't speak German, so we just saw German everywhere and thought Germany. Wrong. Okay, so we're now in Vienna in Austria, and we took a walk from the hotel after resting for a bit. So now we're gonna check out this Japanese store over there. And then maybe find some food, I guess. We don't know what yet.
Maybe Austrian,
Austrian food?
vegetarian Austrian.
Yeah, they probably have it somewhere. Veggie Wiener Schnitzel. Alright, let's go. Let's go get Japanized. Yes. Kawaii ne. Once we Japanned it up at the shop, we of course went out to look for some food since we were hungry and we hadn't eaten since breakfast. And there was an open air market nearby, and they did have some options, but we didn't really see too much there. So we ended up going to, as you'll see in a bit, a vegan pizza place, which was a bit disappointing.
It sucked.
Yeah, as Lynn put it, it sucked.
You're gonna refill? Okay. Ist gut, ja. Faded toes and whatnot. Alright, so I think, oh, it's this, the opera. That's a very pretty building.
After the disappointing pizza, we decided to take a walk just towards the city center and see what was along the way. You can see we passed the Opera House there, which looked pretty neat. And that monument right there, not entirely sure what that was. I was also pretty surprised. There were so many horse carriages. Yeah, I mean, I guess it adds a you know, a certain touch of elegance to the city. But I just always think about the fact that they're pooping on the streets and who actually cleans that up, because it's probably not the people driving them.
But they have bags.
Yeah, they have bags. Some have bags. I didn't feel like those had bags. And yeah, you can see it was pretty hot, so they had this nice little sprinkler thing here, which was pretty cool as well, to cool off. And eventually we made it to where the cathedral was, but just walking up and then seeing that originally, I was kind of just like, what is that? That thing's massive. Um, it's a neat environment though. Quite a contrast. You can see the modern building on the left, and then the more antiquated cathedral to the right. Or maybe antiquated isn't the right word, but
It's
yeah.
pretty.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was just very impressive, very imposing. Something which catches your eye almost immediately. And we wondered, maybe was it worth going inside? And I mean, we did want to, but just because of the crowd and because it was getting late, we just thought, nah, we can save it for tomorrow. We were already tired from traveling that way. And so we just decided to walk around and see what else was in the city center. Had some nice buildings, some nice monuments, churches, the usual suspects in a European capital city, I guess. Yeah. What did you think then?
I liked it.
You liked it? Yeah. I mean, every city has its charm, so it's always just nice to walk around a bit and see what's there instead of just making an exhaustive list of I must see this, and this, because there wasn't really anything I was itching to see in Vienna, if I have to be honest. I only really knew it for being the capital of Austria and for Mozart. Other than that, I don't know much. I didn't know much about it. Oh yeah, more horses, of course. A horse is a horse, of course, if you're in Vienna. So it's the morning of the 12th, probably around low 20s degrees, cloudy, chance of rain. We're here in Vienna, waiting to cross at the crosswalk. Yeah.
Might be 35 degrees.
Yeah, it might be 35 degrees later, so try to stay inside. But we're going to first go to a grocery store, maybe get a little something to eat, because the breakfast is 16 euros and maybe not worth it, according to Linn. So then afterwards go to the cathedral that we were at yesterday, go inside, and then maybe the Jewish museum and all that. Oh, now we gotta cross. Yeah, we'll see how the day goes. So we started our day by getting some breakfast from the grocery store right next to us, Billa. They had a pretty good selection, and yeah, something to do. But naturally we gravitated towards the bread and got some things to take with us, because as I explained, the hotel breakfast was a bit expensive, but the plan from there was to go back to the city center where we were yesterday near the cathedral and actually go into the cathedral. And since it was fairly big, there was a lot to do and see there. As you'll see here, once we got in, we had bought tickets online, and it was some combo ticket, so you get admission into the main part of the church, which it's fenced off, as you can see. And you can also go up to the viewing platform and into the catacombs, or whatever they call them, the underground burial chamber. And I feel like there was something else with it too, but I don't remember. But yeah.
Wasn't it the museum next to it?
Oh, was there? Yeah, maybe it was the museum next to it. But anyways, yeah, they had a choir in there. It was a nice church, very large church. And you could just see a lot of things related to the history of Vienna in there as well. Yeah, what did you think?
It's pretty.
Yeah, it was pretty. It consumed more of the day than we thought it would, and because we had to wait for a specific time to go into the underground part, it ended up being longer, or our stay ended up being pretty long. Yeah, you can see that's where Mozart got married, over there in that little chapel tucked away in the corner. And we did go into the dungeon, and I do have this footage. I probably shouldn't have it. This was the only footage I was willing to upload, in case someone from the cathedral sees it and decides to ban us for life. I did take other footage I wasn't supposed to, but yeah, for my own sake, I'm not including it.
venue. Trinity Church. I see light.
We did make it to the top in spite of all obstacles, and the view was breathtaking, to say the least. It's a very pretty city, or a very visually appealing city. So we did get the chance to go outside, get some fresh air, dry the sweat off of our limbs and faces, because yeah, we were both a bit drenched after that climb, which is understandable. But the view from the top was really cool. Just everything with the motifs on the roof and just the general view we got of the city from the top. Any thoughts?
I like the mix of styles on the roof versus the cathedral itself.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
it is.
Vasa.
Naturally, after that much exercise in the church, the logical answer would be to go get lunch, which is what we did. And we did look around the area to see what we could find. Bit hit and miss. Eventually, we did find a place, and it was okay. Following our lunch, we decided to walk around the area and see what more there was. You see another horse in the corner. There's a park across the street, and well, right in front of the Vienna City Hall, which itself is quite a sight. Yeah, but we will talk more about our restaurant experience in the video we took when we were there. But yeah, we should have tipped. We didn't. We felt bad afterwards. That's how it goes.
I didn't feel bad.
Yeah, she didn't feel bad, but
They
you
were
know,
being dicks.
yeah.
And I was mad that there was this street food thing here because they had way better prices.
Yeah, we missed out. Alright, it's now about, 2 in the afternoon. We had lunch at a place. Then thought it was a bit expensive, and we didn't tip, which you're supposed to do here. Apparently, waiter didn't seem very happy. But, yeah.
But they were being buttholes before we even got the food.
Yeah, she didn't like the service, so whatever. But we're waiting in the park outside the city hall there. Big ornate building, and we're gonna go for a tour of the parliament at 4:45. So still have hour and a half before then. But
I don't have 3.
4:45, you know, kvarti. Okay, well, either way, yeah. So we're just in the park here. They have some sort of music, film festival out there.
32 degrees.
Yeah, it's 32 degrees. It's pretty warm. That's why we're in the shade. When the breeze comes in, it's nice. Otherwise, it's hot. But I still think maybe we should find somewhere to go in the interim. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how the parliament is. So, following our brief respite from the heat in the park, we headed towards the parliament, which was actually not far from the city hall. And right across the street from the parliament was a nice looking park, which we decided to head into just to see if there was a place to maybe sit down and relax for a bit while we waited for our appointment, I guess you could call it, to go tour the parliament. it was pretty green, nice place to relax. There were a lot of shady areas, but unfortunately, a lot of people had the same idea as us. But we were able to find a place where we could sit down and just chill for a bit before we went into the Parliament building itself. Um, yeah, so take it easy. Then once we were in, what you're seeing here is just sort of the lobby, including a gift shop, which was a bit odd for a Parliament building, but I imagine a lot of them have them. But we were not allowed to take video inside of the Parliament proper, which is why you're just seeing sort of the lobby or foyer area. But I did include some photos just to, show what it was like. This photo is the old mm, sort of Senate chamber, or yeah, the photos include the old Senate chamber, the upper where the upper house of the Parliament meets, looking down from the top, and in a picture of me at the podium, just yeah, because we're allowed to do it and we were encouraged to do it. And once we got out, we realized that the weather had started to take a turn for the worst, in spite of it being so nice earlier. And it was probably in our best interest to get out of there and get back to the hotel, which is what we did afterwards because it had started to get windy and look a bit menacing. But yeah, anything you'd like to add, Lynn?
Luckily, we made it to the hotel before it started to pour.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, and that storm was something else. I tell you, we didn't take video of it. I'm not sure why I didn't, but once we got back to the hotel before all hell let loose, it was there were so many lightning strikes. There was so much rain, just so much of everything, and it went on for a good half an hour. I mean, I'm from Georgia, the South, and I lived in Japan, and I feel like I haven't seen such an intense storm as I did that day in Vienna. So and that concludes our trip to Vienna, or partially, because we actually did stay in Vienna another night. And the next day we ended up going to Bratislava, which is what the next episode will be about. So, in that, you'll get to see our walkthrough of the city, which is only a short train ride away from Vienna, along with some closing thoughts on both Vienna and Bratislava at the end. So, yeah, again, thanks for watching to whoever actually is watching. And I apologize again for the delay and I will try to get on a more regular editing schedule so these don't end up being released once per month because that is not the goal. But anyways, yes. Thanks for watching. See you.
Bye bye.